hard to get you in the office. And instead of being frustrated by that, I just relish the fact that this proves our cloud model works, right? What a different world we live in today. I mean, we're spoiled. We can run our whole businesses, in my case, outdoors, oftentimes riding my mountain bike, skiing on the mountain with internet, and just loving the technology of today, being able to operate from everywhere. And I see today we've got people tuning in from many states here in the United States. One of my good high school friends, Les Peeler, is here with us this morning from Oklahoma. Hello, Les. Thank you for joining us. And my favorite cowboy sitting right in front of me, John Evans, congratulations on your new affiliation and bringing Barbara Kaufman into the company and her team. That's awesome, buddy. And I love that you call me on the weekends to make things happen. But hey, let's talk about what's, I mean, I have been in this business for 34 years, and I'm telling you right now, I have never, ever seen so much opportunity. It is unbelievable. You know, that we had a shock to the market, we had interest rates rise, everything kind of froze, volume dropped, but now it's starting to flow, right? It's starting to flow. And all of a sudden, you've got different sectors of the market performing totally differently. You guys remember the term MBS in 2008? Mortgage-backed securities? Yes, that's what took our banks, that's what took our market down in 2008, 2009. Well, guys, today, you can just add a C to that. It's CMBS. We have about $3 trillion worth of commercial real estate that needs to be refinanced in the next 36 months. And guys, that's causing all kinds of opportunities. It's unbelievable. In fact, Hunter and I, we've got a $100 million deal right in Orange County that I believe is going to get accepted this week. 3 days ago, I wrote a $45 million offer on a property on Harbor Island, and it got rejected. Those sellers are thinking they can get more. We've got a $110 million offer to present today on a commercial property. And this afternoon, I get to present a fresh new $16 million offer on a house in Corona del Mar. So I'm telling you guys, I mean, the year started off a little slow, I think, for all of us. And last year was not the best year, but man, things are starting to break. Sellers are listening. You know, some of the data I've been using lately is, you know, if you look at the Real Deal, I don't know if you guys subscribe to that, but there was an article that came out this morning that said the highest sell in LA year to date is 25 million. Now that's a lot of money. You know, I don't think Les has too many of those sales in Oklahoma, but for LA, that is like, I mean, a starter home, right? I mean, last year by this time, you know, they had a 70 and a 75, and they had an auction for 144. And so to have the highest sale at 25 tells me a couple of things. One, you know, this new tax in LA County is not helping things. Number two, there's some crime that's happening there that's pushing people to Orange County. And then number three, you know, the confidence levels are down. So be sure and use that data because, you know, we're seeing tremendous volume come back in the lower end of the market, the middle part of the market. We're seeing multiple offers again. But guys, if we're going to crack some of these deals in the 15, 20, 25 million, be sure and use some of this available data. So just an exciting time to be a real estate agent, an exciting time to be with Agent Inc. And we've got a very special guest today, Sharran, the president of ReaL, who has joined forces with Agent Inc. to make us the best platform in the world. We're delivering those promises to you of being able to have stock awards, being able to have an amazing cap. Guys, I mean, I don't understand why people are still paying 10, 20, 100,000 to their broker when you can have a cap like this. Makes no sense. And then this just incredibly robust revenue share program, which I am so excited about. Guys, we're going to see Agent Inc. have dynamic growth. We've had agents just in the last 2 weeks bring us teams of 130, 45. Dusty even brought us a very large company to talk to, and we're seeing that all over because we're now so competitive with this very complete platform that we've been envisioning from day one when we started Agenique. So listen, I'm gonna turn it over now. I know you're gonna love Sharran. Sharran and I go way back. This is not our first rodeo together. We were partners in another venture, and you're just gonna love this guy. He's got great energy, great integrity, just amazingly nice person, harder work ethic than any of us. And I know you're going to love to hear from him today. But right now, turn it back to Scott, just to dig into a little more of the market dynamics before we turn it over to Sharran. Scott?
Thanks, John. And we're only going to take a minute on the market because we want to take advantage of this time to interact in a very town hall format situation with Sharran. And, you know, you're now leading a company that's on a rocket ride of growth at a time when, hey, think about this, the last 12 months, what has every real estate company done? Those that actually stayed in business, they shrunk. You know what's happened to real in the last 12 months? About a year ago, what, 400 agents or so in California, over 1,700 today. Boy, is there an energy around it. And talk about being contrarian and not doing it like everybody else. Remember that old picture of the pier? Been around forever. You got a picture of a pier, and you got all these people fishing on one side of the pier. And there'll be a fish here, and then skip a few people and then another fish. And then there's one person fishing on the other side of the pier. And they've got this big pile of fish next to them. And you know, like Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues. Well, that's a clue. And what ReaL's done in the last year, that's a clue where this industry's going, where the opportunity is in this business. And as John said, the things that we envisioned to build on our own when we started this, realizing that the time, the money, oh my gosh, it's just overwhelming, it's daunting. Well, now we're handed this gift that we're aligning with a group that we so respect because they're all real estate people. This is a culture of real estate, yeah, and led by, as John said, very talented people. And we get to fuel this vision that creating on our own. It's overwhelming. And so they've spent 9 years building this incredible platform that we are stepping into and aligning with. And what a gift, and what a great time to do it. And Sharran, I'll let you talk more about, where that is in the journey and what's ahead. But hey, gang, the market is giving us that gift of stability. It's not sliding down the cliff. We talked about it on our skill development workshop on Monday morning. And Carrie,
right here.
How many offers has your team written in the last 3 days? 3 days.
We did 4 to 5 between my team and ourselves in the last couple of days, just over the weekend after doing some open houses.
So when all the agents are sitting around going, "There's no business, I don't know what to do." Golly, how long do I have to stay on before I flunk out? They're just out there quietly, and almost all those people you met at open house.
Correct, most of them, yes.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So
1.4 on an open house, and then $8.99 at an open house.
So while most of your competition is, what am I going to do? The market's quietly going on, stable, prices aren't declining, and yeah, we're about 70%-ish of what we were at the all-time peak. Okay, so the pie is 70% is big. The agents that are competing against you for the 70%, well, guess what? They haven't gone down 30%, they've gone down like 80%, which means just get out there. And just get out there and connect with people and let the magic happen, just like it's doing for your group. And I love it. So there's our market. Things are steady. We've got right now, as of yesterday, 2,200 active listings in Orange County, about 3,200 transaction sides in escrow in Orange County today. So anybody telling you there's not an opportunity, they're not following the facts. There's the facts. Average days on market right now in Orange County as of yesterday, 41 days. Hello, no supply crisis. So anybody that's thinking about selling, good news, your home's not only worth way more than you ever thought it would be a year ago when this started settling, but you have almost no competition. So there's our market. There's nothing, no limitations in the market other than it's between my ears. And I've got to keep priority in perspective. So that's it on the market. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And that's it on the market. Sharran, we're just honored to have you here. We know you're all over the country doing so many things. You just stepped in last fall as the president of ReaL Brokerage. And, you know, I had the unfortunate reality of having to compete against Sharran when he was building a company that started in LA and came to Orange County back in the day when I was helping build a big brand in Orange County. And fortunately, we both did well. But Sharran is a talent, and even outside of real estate, just an amazingly talented business guy. And I'm going to learn from him in a great way. I think we all are. But what's even more inspiring is just the person, and that just speaks to culture. Someone that thinks win-win and cares about other people. I've heard Sharran introduce himself to so many people already, and you know what he says? I work for you. Hi, I'm Sharran. I'm the president of ReaL Brokerage, and I work for you. Well, I love that. So we have the chance to interact, and you can ask questions, share a little bit about the vision, the opportunities that are settling in for all of us. And so could we give a very robust Agent Inc. welcome to Sharran Srivatsaa.
Morning, folks.
Morning.
It's kind of like a B minus. You know, drove all the way from Laguna to hang out with you. You know, normally I did an event in Toronto and I couldn't pull off this whole like Laguna Toronto joke. They had no idea what I was talking about. But I had to tell you a fun story. How many of you have been on a listing appointment in the last, you can lie, in the last 6 months? 6 months. All right. So yesterday, one of our agents, or Sunday, one of our agents, I haven't even shared this with Scott yet. One of our agents messages me. He's like, hey, Sharran, I'm going on a listing appointment in La Jolla, right? La Jolla. And I said, he goes, do you have any advice for me? I was like, dude, like you literally, this is all he said. I'm going on a listing appointment in La Jolla. Do you have any advice for me? Like little context for people. I have no idea what this is. And then he starts telling me, he goes, hey, this is roughly $11-12 million. I've known this person for a while. They are going to interview 3 people. And I've not sold anything in that market, so I'm a little nervous. Is that warranted? Do you think that's warranted, right? That's warranted. And so I said to him, I was like, tell me where this is. And my son and I were driving, and I said, tell me where this is. And he says, it's in La Jolla, and here's where it is. And I was like, I know exactly where that is. I said, when's your appointment? He said, in 2 hours. I was like, I'll go with you. So my son is 11 years old. He's like, Dad, what am I going to do? I was like, I'm going to hand you my phone. You're going to watch YouTube in the car while I go on this appointment. And so we are the 3rd group in this meeting. And by the way, I'm going in support of this agent. I don't need any piece of the pie or anything like that. So I go in support of this agent. We're the 3rd agent in the living room. And this is like a 10,000 square foot house. You know how long a tour of a 10,000 square foot house takes? Way too much time, right? And I have my son in my car and I'm like, I got to do this. So we walk in and I tell the clients, I was like, where can we sit down and strategize? The client's like, well, wait, you don't need the tour? I was like, no, let's sit down and game plan first. He goes, oh, okay. You should have seen the relief on his face. He's like, so glad I don't have to take this person through another tour of this house, right? And then we started talking and he said something that was super interesting. So market prices say, this is roughly 11-ish million, market prices say. And the client says, well, we've had 2 agents in here already. One said, I can get you 12. You've heard that before, right? Because the agent says that they can get him that price. And he's like, and one said they can get us 18. That's a little much. 12, I understand. 18 is a little much, right? And 11's a push in this market. So we talked about everything, and he's like, he goes, you know, the seller's really smart. He said, Sharran, I know that this is not worth 18. Our sellers are not dumb. He said, I know this is not worth 18, but I feel like there's something that he's not telling me. Now, if that situation was presented to you, what do you do? What do you do? Please say it again, Matt. Yeah. So tell him, hey, I don't think it's worth 18. right? Okay, cool. What else do you do? Please go ahead, sir. Tell them what it's worth. Hey, it's worth 11-ish. Good. What else? Keep asking questions. All right, man. Well, give me a question that you can ask. Yeah, so to repeat for folks that are listening, ask more questions, figure out how you can actually add value to them. Shiva. So have them actually articulate value, right? Cool. What else? Yeah, why does he feel like he's not telling him everything? And so the agent with me said, hey, so why do you feel like he thinks he can get 18? And the seller said, I don't know. So now I have an ethical emotional quandary right now. How do I tell the seller the truth without taking away the opportunity from us? Would that be fair?
Sure.
So I said, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, may I let you into a little inside baseball? In the real estate world, when agents say that you know it's worth roughly 11 to 12, and the agent said it's worth 18, you know it's not quite there yet. In agent world, we call it buying the listing. You've heard that phrase before at some point, and you should have seen their eyes just light up. You know why? Because we told them inside baseball. We told them something that no one would ever tell them any other time. They're like, wow, that makes sense. And he said to me, well, I still don't know what to tell him. So he's like, well, let me get back to you guys tomorrow. So this is tomorrow. He calls this morning, 7:30ish. He's like, Sharran, what do I tell this guy? So I had a brief Scott McDonald moment of genius, right? Right? And I said, hey, call the agent and tell him that I would love to do this, but if you ask for a price adjustment in the next 90 days, the listing is automatically canceled. And he goes, I can do that? I'm like, you can do whatever you want. It's your house. You write it in the contract. Guess what we got? 20 minutes ago, the agent would not take that deal, right? So 20 minutes ago, we got it at 11.5 for a 5% and 10% of anything over 11%, over 11 million, right? Because it's cool. The cool part is we get a chance to actually let clients into our world and say, here is inside baseball. This is what happens. This is what agents do. And when we tell our clients what only we talk about behind closed doors, I think it actually makes them closer to us. There's a much more enduring thing, right? So next time if someone is considering buying a listing from you, if it's appropriate, and if Scott waves his magic wand and says it's okay to do, you should consider doing that. How many of you may consider using that at some point? Right? It's cool. That was fun. You got a thought, sir?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, awesome. I'm so grateful to be with all of you. If it's okay, I want to give you like a 2-minute background. So you're like, all right, who is this guy? He looks like he's 14. You know, the Asian genes are fun. I was started off in the technology world many years ago. We built and sold a company in the Bay Area. So that was my first foray into all of this. And then I spent, we had a small exit. So then I spent 5 years in the hospitality world. I was at the Four Seasons and the Ritz-Carlton. So I spent a year in the Caribbean, a year in Dubai, and 3 years on Maui. And then after you worked in hospitality for a while, I was like, well, I got to actually do something real. And my mentor said, no one's hiring a beach bum from Maui. You got to go do something with your life. So I went to business school and I became an investment banker at Goldman Sachs in New York. So I did, I was at Goldman and at Credit Suisse. At that time, we had invested in a small real estate company in Beverly Hills. It had 1 office and 22 agents. And the leadership at that time were going the wrong direction. And so I came in just to help find a new CEO roughly around 2010. And I was like, wait a minute, I think there's a great model. So we went from 1 office and 22 agents to 22 offices and 700 agents, and then sold our big business to Douglas Elliman. Some of you may know Telus Properties. We grew it across Southern California. And that was when I got to meet John. John and I were partners. And so I've known John almost 10 years now. And you guys are very fortunate to spend a lot of time with him. John's a great friend, and we've had many conversations about the world together. So after we sold our business to Doug Sullivan, I had a non-compete for 5 years, which means I had to sit on my hands and watch what was going on. So I did multifamily investing. So I've been an investor for the last 5+ years. We bought 1,000 doors a year for the last 5 years. So I could tell you the ins and outs of that, which is pretty wild. And then I've been consulting with various real estate companies. So I consulted with Side, I consulted with a couple of the companies on the East Coast, and then I started consulting with ReaL. And I love the model so much that it was actually the same business plan that I wrote. ReaL was just 7 years ahead. And I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to raise this much money or do this much effort to build a platform that other people can plug into, right? And so I started the president of ReaL in December of last year. When I started, we had 6,900 agents total around the company. And as of today, we have a little bit over 11,000 in under 6 months. So pretty cool for all of us to be able to do that. And there's this one saying I want you to hear, and you'll hear me say this often, which is, help us build a great company today so that our company can take care of our family tomorrow. I'll say it again. Help us build a great company today so our company can take care of our family tomorrow. And here's the problem with this. How many of you, just do a little interaction, how many of you feel like you are ahead of your goals for 2023? Okay. Tough market to ask this question, right? How many of you feel like you are kind of sort of on track for your goals in 2023? You should be proud. This is good. So we got about, a third of the room. All right. How many of you feel like you're a tiny bit behind on your goals in 2023? How many of you are like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about? Right? Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for saying that. But here's the interesting part. In our business, this is the only business in the entire world where if you're ahead of your goals, you're stressed out. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm ahead. What's going to happen? Is this going to drop? If you're on track, you're like, I'm on track. When is this going to slow down? You get stressed out. If you're behind, you're like, oh crap, I'm behind. You're going to stressed out. And you're like, should I have something? If you're like us, you're like, I'm totally stressed out all the time. Right? This is the only business that is that way. And do you know why? Why?
Started zero. Only as good as my last.
Sense that, yeah, you started zero every time, right? Scott?
Only as good as my last sale.
You're only as good as your last sale. What else? Why? Why is this stressful? You're unemployed every day. You're 100% right. Why else? Why is this stressful?
There's no ceiling, but there's no floor.
There is no ceiling, but there is no floor. We all got in this business. Why? I can make as much as I want. I can work whenever I want. I can work as much as I want. I can work whenever I want. Yeah, it's stressful. What other reason? Why? Why is it stressful? Ma'am, go ahead. Yeah, I know. You don't know what's going to happen. Like rates change like that, and suddenly everything turns, right? What else? Why is it stressful? Yeah, my goodness. It's the human factor, the human complexity. It's dependent on a lot of other people. 3 big reasons. Number one, our job is so dependent on bringing so many people together to make it work. And here's the crazy part. Everyone else gets paid to work. We have to work to get paid. Think about that for a second. Everybody in the world, everybody gets paid. Yeah, they come into work, they get paid, they come into work, it's not bad. I appreciate that. I pay a lot of people, but they get paid to work. For us, we have to market. We have to go through the stress. We got to sell and get somebody signed on the dotted line. We haven't even won yet. Then we have to work through, bring all these people together. And then at the end, they still will squeeze us for something. Right? This is crazy. Right? And that stuff, the number one is the human factor, right? Number one. Number two, there's a big disconnect between how we generate revenue and how we live our lives. That causes stress. Do you think our lives, our bills, our expenses, all of that wait till you get a commission check? I'm sorry. Do you think? Yeah, I totally messed it up. The reason is there's a disconnect between the cadence of how we live our lives. We have these monthly, call it just monthly, regular kind of lifestyle expenses we have to manage. And we have this chunky revenue that we have to create. And if the chunky revenue doesn't meet the lifestyle expenses, stress. Right? And I was like, how can we solve that? How can we solve that? And let me tell you how we can't solve that. How we can't solve that is the older model of, hey, you did 10 deals last year. Great. What's your goal? You do 10% more this year. Like, please, that's crazy. You've only gotten 10% better. That's crazy. Right? And so we're like, oh, I did 10 deals last year. I did 20 million last year. I'm going to do 24 million this year. You randomly, arbitrarily pull that number out of the air. Right? And the crazy part is that number, to make it better, you just have to work harder. There's no other way. Because all of what we've been taught is your work ethic and your capability is going to drive more revenue. And that's cool. And I understand that. But could there be a better model? Could you plug into something that can do better, that can actually solve the stress of monthly expenses? And that was my way of saying, hey, I've seen so many. Do you know how many e-commission checks I've signed? Way too many. And my heart breaks because I know, hey, this agent has 40 million in escrow and I signed an e-commissions check. Think about that for a second. Right? And it's okay because my heart goes out to them. And we've all done that in some way. And when we can find a model to solve the stress, we get to be the best versions of ourselves. And that's why I'm so excited about the Agent Inc. partnership. And let me tell you this one big reason. Folks that join ReaL. That's cool. And I appreciate that. But you all know brokerage math. We sell a house, make $100. You know where the money goes. Like $6 went to ReaL. Right? You're like, how are these guys able to run a publicly traded company for like $12? Right? But it works at scale. But here's what the issue there is, right? When we can do that, we got to give you more. And that's why the Agent Inc. partnership is so powerful, because John and Scott Shiva are like, listen, let's overlay all our years of experience and our model and our knowledge and our resource and plop it on top of a platform so we can give you the best of all worlds. And I will tell you right now, if you are not paying attention, if I were you, I would give John and Scott like the biggest freaking hug ever. I'm not joking, because they're like, listen, we don't mind taking it in the chin for a little bit to ensure that all our agents do well. My first conversation with John and Scott were like, we're going to do whatever you want, but it has to be right for our agents. It's super powerful. Just because they're amazing people, can we just give John and Scott like a super big round of applause? I want to say 3 quick things about ReaL and the model, and then maybe we can do a few questions before you kick me out. Is that cool? Okay. Is this like minutely entertaining at least? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm like this all the time. Can you imagine my wife? My wife is like, you need to calm down. I have 2 children. My son is 11 and my daughter is 7. My son is a carbon copy of my wife. Really cool, calm, collected, semi-introverted, and very methodical. My daughter is either going to sell drugs or be president. Right. And like my daughter is like me. 1 speed. That's all we got. We're like this all the time, right? All the time. And my wife was like, you got what you deserved in that girl. You know, it's hilarious. 3 things about ReaL. Thing number 1. People throw around this word culture a lot. And I think that culture is not about recruiting. Culture is not about attraction. Culture is about a feeling of belonging. And if we can't feel like we belong to something that is doing so much more, that we can plug into a platform of success, if we can't feel that belonging, it's never quite there. And all I would ask for you to feel a culture of belonging is to lean in just a little, not a lot, just a little. So when you get access to the systems, just check it out. Just feel like you're plugging in, because I will tell you, the culture of collaboration is insane. It is insane. It is the most I've ever seen it, because everyone at the firm realizes that we're all better together. So that's number one on the culture side. I think you all already have it from a feeling of belonging on the Agent Inc. side. You're just supercharging it. So I would offer that if you see a Zoom call and you want to just, you can keep your camera off, but just plug in and hear what's going on while you're working. I would just plug in and say, hey, what's this ReaL thing all about? Just engage with it a little bit. So my first request to you is, over the next 10, 15 days, just plug into something that's going on. Just give me a nod if that's cool. Like, I'll wait till everybody nods. Number two, the second thing is, it would be really good for you to understand the model. And the model has three components, and this is important. So if you're not paying attention, please pay attention now. I'll go through the model in like 90 seconds, right? The model has three components to it. The first one is all the splits and all the fees are completely transparent. So just FYI to you, John Scott will tell you this. There is nobody that has a special deal at ReaL. I ran a brokerage. Do you know how many special deals there were? 100%. Everybody. I knew everybody. Like, we will tell you the truth. And I love telling you the truth. And it's not good or bad, right? It's like, hey, Zen, so 70-30, but just for your team, but you can't tell anybody. Now that's okay, conceptually speaking, but the best part for us is everything is transparent. Everybody is on the same deal, right? And so you always know. So when you reach out to support, you don't have to be like, look up my deal. Everyone's on the same deal, because it's easier for us to run a business because we can model better. And we feel good to you. So number one is the model. The second part of it is the growth. Many of you, would you all agree that we are all entrepreneurs in our own right? We all run our businesses. Like 7 nods. We all run our businesses. Okay, thank you. Right. But the crazy part is, am I totally messing you up by walking around? Sorry. I can't.
Energy.
The crazy part about owning our business is that we can't, like, I can't go sell my real estate practice. Heck, no brokerages are not being bought these days, right? So you work really hard, 5, 10, 15 years in your business. You build this brand equity in your business. You build this great business. And the best you could possibly do is enter a referral deal where you fade off into the sunset and somebody takes it. Even that, people just stop when the music stops. So how do you actually get some equity into your business? The master of equity is John McMonagle, right? He's found a way to be like, hey, this home has a lot of equity. Let me figure out how to unlock that. This business has a lot of equity for our agents. Let's figure out how to unlock that. How you generate equity is very hard in our individual businesses, but here's the answer. The answer is, that's why we went public. We went public not for ReaL. We went public so that all of you would have a piece of ReaL as ReaL grows. So as ReaL is growing, you're like, Sharran, you go to Toronto, you recruit 10,000 more agents, because when you do that, our stock is worth more. You should be so happy when you see ReaL grow. It doesn't even mean anything for you. You're like, dude, you go be away from your family, stay in a crappy ass hotel room and recruit more agents. You should do that. You know why? Because when you do that, your stock grows. That's cool, because I call it synthetic equity in your business. You now own your business through the association. And I will tell you, that is the coolest gift that we can give you, because otherwise your business is not worth the same. Just give me a nod if that broadly makes sense, right? Third component. I want to give you some real math associated with this. For all the monies that we receive in company dollar, so that is our portion of the transaction, we turn around and we pay back 50 to 60% of it off the top in revenue share. So think about this for a second. The splits are already pretty generous. We turn around and take 50 to 60% of that and get paid back in revenue share, because we realize that how much cooler is it for you to get a check monthly so that you can start to stress less. I'll give you some general math around this. We have folks right now at ReaL making anywhere between $2,000 a month in revenue share to $300,000 a month in revenue share. Passive, check, monthly. Like, think about that for a second. Would that be somewhat interesting to you? Right? And the interesting part is you don't have to go recruit. We call it attraction because people like you for you. And you're like, hey, listen, I have this agenting partnership. We partner with ReaL. I'd love to tell you more about it. You should come talk to Scott. And if it's a big team, Scott and John will pull me in and say, hey, you should come talk to Sharran. By the way, I don't get revenue share. So I'm in service of you. I work for you. And you're like, you pull me in, I get to close it for you so that you get revenue share for the rest of your life. Think about that for a second, right? And the interesting part about revenue share, and let me clarify this, this is not MLM. How many of you, do not lie to me. Do not lie to me. How many of you for 1 second had the thought cross your head that, multi-level marketing? No, please raise your hand, be honest, right? A third of us. So let me clear it up for you. This is man, it happened, right? She raised her hand. Yes, but here's the crazy part. It's not, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. We pay out 50 to 60% off the top of what ReaL gets in company dollar. We have a transaction. Scott gets his portion of it. ReaL gets our portion of it. And we take that portion, the ReaL dollars, and we cut that in 60% and we pay back in revenue share. There's no hypothetical money. Here's the best part. No revenue means no revenue share. If y'all don't sell anything, y'all don't make anything. Like, you understand that, right? That actually goes to the heart of not being MLM. We take our revenues and pay back in revenue share. But here's the more interesting part about that. Imagine, I'll make up a scenario. What's your name? Natasha. Let's say Natasha starts jamming, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 agents join Natasha. I'll make up a number. Natasha starts making $25,000 a month in passive revenue share. And something crazy, unfortunate happens. Right? And something happens to Natasha. Music stops. You know what? We now take that $25,000 a month and we continue paying it to whoever Natasha designates for life. It's willable. It's willable. And the reason it's willable is because it's not MLM. Because we pay our portion of company dollar to Natasha's heirs. Think about that for a second. We don't touch Scott's earnings. We pay our portion to her family, her heirs, whoever she designates for life. Right? This goes back to the phrase that I said, help us build a great company today so that our company can take care of your family tomorrow. Right? Last broad comment, and then I want to introduce somebody super special. It's been really hard for me to say, man, what model can help agents? What do we do? What do we build? Do we build more technology? Do we build more marketing resources? Do we build better branding? What do we do? And if we're turning up and handing back 60% of our monies back to people in revenue share, we have a small portion of dollars to work with. Just give me a nod if that makes sense, right? With that, we have to run a publicly traded company. I'll tell you a big part about running a public company is the amount of money it takes for governance. It is a lot just to keep the company public. And so we have to make a choice on what we build. And I will tell you what we're building. We are only going to build stuff that you can't build on your own. Okay, so if you say, hey, I want to go get a CRM system, if you can go get it for $20 a month, I'm sorry, you're going to go get it for $20 a month, right? Because you already have access to it. Us building it is not going to help you in any way. But instead, can we go build willable revenue share so that Natasha never has to worry ever again? Can we go build a stock program that every time for you just hitting your numbers, for you just selling houses, if you can get an award? Imagine this, you cap. I'm sorry, $12,000 cap in Orange County, like 3 sneezes and you should hit it, right? That's crazy, right? That's less than 100 grand. Like you should hit it. But then if you hit the award, thank you. One person laughing at my stuff. I totally appreciate it, right? But the crazy part in all of this is that we get to only build stuff that you can't easily build yourself. Can we build a stock program that you can have equity in? Can we build a technology platform that you can actually access and build yourself? Can we build revenue share that you can get? Can we build, can we use our group buying power to get benefits that you can access yourself? What can we do as a company that you can't do individually? That is our only goal. Because the more we do that, we do something that you can't do yourself, and that feels like a win. Cool. Is that helpful? One last thing. If I would offer, once you are onboarded at ReaL, you can we'll get access to something called Workplace, and you can message me directly. I'm also an Instagram junkie, so if you're on Instagram, you can just message me directly and say, "Hey, Sharran, I have a question." You're welcome to do that. I work for you, so if I will probably either answer the question, or I will get you the answer to the question, or I'll direct you to somebody. Cool. And if you're already onboarded at ReaL, if you're stuck, the only thing you need to do is you don't have to figure anything out. You just email. You can go to Shiva, but you just email support@realbrokerage.com, and we have a dedicated support team that'll just handle everything. So if you're ever stuck, support@realbrokerage.com, and we'll handle everything for you. Cool. I want to introduce you to my partner and the broker for the state of California, Mr. Jason Lopez. Say hi to Jason. Come on up, come on up. Jason has been at ReaL 6+ years. Almost 7 years. He's like a brother to me. Jason lives in San Diego. He's big man on campus in San Diego. He's like the president of all the boards in San Diego. And so he can make everything work. The greatest part, what I love about Jason is that he's the most practical, pragmatic, and coolest broker you will meet. He's like, bro, you can't do that. It's not like you can't do that. Like, bro, like, you can't do that. You know, it's awesome. It's awesome. And when Scott and John invited us, I told Jason, I'm like, hey, get to go and hang out with the agent in folks. Could you come spend some time? So I wanted to make sure y'all put a name to the face, and you got a chance to meet with Jason and his partner in crime, this California broker stuff is Sam Benson in the Sacramento area. So you'll hear from both Jason and Sam, but
and we have a third one that just literally started yesterday. His name is Ernesto Martinez. He's in San Jose. We will have another SoCal person hopefully before the end of the year. I told Joan, our regional director, that we needed like a 40-year-old blonde woman to kind of offset all the old man wrote things. But hey, it's great to meet everybody. I know some of you I've talked with or maybe emailed with or over the past couple of weeks as some of you have been onboarding. So in October will be 7 years. I launched the California market. It's a great story I can tell you guys sometime, but it's really been the last 18 months where we've seen this explosive growth. And to kind of put it into perspective for you, this time last year in California, we had about 550 agents. I saw last night, we just crossed 1,800 agents in California. And I think we're coming up on 12,000 across the country in Canada. Sometimes it can feel a little bit like we're flying the plane and building it at the same time. But it's what we've built, what you've built really is just tremendous. So if you ever need anything, I'm easy to find. And as Sharran mentioned, we've got Sam Benson, who's been a longtime broker. Our role as brokers is really, compliance alley, right? It's risk management. It's helping you guys with transactional issues. You've got issues with clients or other agents. There's a lot of those now. You guys probably know. I've never seen so many procuring cause claims. They're not always actual real issues, but sometimes people don't really understand. But there's a lot of that going on as the market has shifted, interest rates have gone up, right? Things like that. I am the president of one association in San Diego. We have 3. Pacific Southwest is my primary association. I'm also a director with the California associations and do some work with CRMLS on their operations committee and things like that as well. I do all that so that I can keep you in the know about what's happening in the industry, especially things that impact. I always say the realtor associations exist for 3 reasons. One is to provide tools and resources to you, so you guys can go out and do the job, whether that's MLS or whatever. Protect private property rights. There's a lot going on in that arena right now, especially around things like rent control and tenant protection ordinances and a bunch of crazy stuff. and also to promote homeownership opportunities. One of the things we've been doing in San Diego is meeting with a lot of our locally elected officials, mayors and city council members and things like that. We met with the mayor. Anybody ever heard of National City before?
Yeah.
National City. It's literally like 5 minutes south of downtown San Diego, between San Diego and Chula Vista. We met with the mayor there a few weeks ago, and he told me it's been years since we've had a new construction home ownership project. It's all apartments, right? You guys don't have that big of a problem in Orange County. We got some open space a little bit still, but that's why I do that, is to give back and make sure you guys know what's going on. It also gives me an opportunity to network and stay in tune with business things that are happening, right? Everybody's aware we have a new forms release coming out June 22nd, a couple of weeks. There are only 3.
So you guys just nod your head,
no.
no.
No. So we do these twice a year, right? CAR puts out new forms and revised forms. We only have 3 new forms this round, but there's 70 revisions that are happening with existing forms. If you jump on our Wednesday, some of you guys have been on my Wednesday agent call. Yeah, or jump in the academy on Friday mornings. But Wednesday at 11, I do a California agent Zoom meeting with everybody. We do record those, so they're posted after if you guys don't make it. We'll be talking a lot about the forums over the next few weeks, just getting ready for that. So stay tuned on that. I know we've been doing a lot of transfers with you guys with the boards and the MLS and all that. So just keep sending, I think Layla's sending all that stuff to me to sign. And but if you have questions about any of that, I can help you with that stuff as well. So I don't know if anybody has questions or.
Awesome. Go. Can we do questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, how much time, how are we doing here? Because
We're
few
here.
more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And only a brother could text me late Sunday and say, hey, guess what's happening on Tuesday? I said, cool, I'm gonna be in Long Beach. We had a bunch of our Long Beach agents got together for a ReaL Captains morning. So I hightailed to Long Beach and then on my way back to San Diego.
And then we're doing a San Diego happy hour on Thursday. So if you're in La Jolla, so if you're totally bored,
Yeah.
we'll make sure, you get it. So Jason and I and our CEO of our lending business are actually hosting 50 to 100 agents in San Diego. But our goal is to continuously do more of these, just so since the cloud stuff is sometimes hard, so we want to at least spend time together. So I wanted y'all to, spend some time with Jason, just so suddenly when you actually meet him, you're like, okay, when you get an email from him, you're like, he's a cool dude.
So I got a 30-second Jason story. Yeah, some of you know, there was another big firm that wanted agent to align with them. And we're talking, and it got to the point that, we were going to interact with their broker of record in California. John and I get on the Zoom and we hang up and we go, we can never work with this person. It was just, the hurdles and the this, and it was just brain damage. And then we get on with Jason. I kid you not. We hang up the Zoom. I call him. John goes, this guy's so cool. This is the guy we need to work with.
I probably have my ReaL baseball cap on and my tank top. Right? So, yeah, if I'm not sitting behind my computer at the home office, I'm in the water surfing or skateboarding or something. But anyway, you had a question? Or?
So yeah, first and foremost, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming out here and spending the time with us. I know we drove in from the Inland Empire, so we were super excited to meet you guys. That's first and foremost. Another thing is I have been on your academy conference, so I think pretty well you guys can come there. I'm very knowledgeable of the things that they share with you. Number 2 is that I wanted to touch at the very beginning of the conversation. We have an income and an expense issue. Would we not say that that's our issue? So being able to have stocks and other revenue to be able to add to that to our business is massive. And that was something that really enlightened me, and just doing that is just so amazing, right? Because now we have other ways of bringing in income besides just our last commission check. Secondly, this is my wonderful team down here, all of them.
Yay!
Hey!
Excited about because you know what? I'm about changing lives. And when I go out and I talk to other agents and I have the same passion you do, I have almost the same energy as you do. I get out there and I talk to people, I get to show them. And you know what? They look at me and they're like, oh my gosh, your energy. It's because I'm passionate about changing these women, all of their lives. Some of them are single moms, have kids, all these different things. And these opportunities are so huge. So for me, for us, and for our team, it is really being able to build that. And so we're super excited about that. Another thing that I wanted to say is that John and Scott are Layla and all of them, Sheba, are amazing. When I first came on to Agent Inc., I've been with them almost 7 months now. I was kind of a sole agent rebuilding a team again from another team that I was with. And they've helped me in the last 7 months rebuild my team and give me the encouragement, the knowledge, the experience, everything. And I couldn't have picked another better brokerage. And I'm being super honest and transparent with this. So I just want to say thank you so much. I'm grateful. I wanted to share my story with you guys about you guys couldn't be in a better place, seriously. And so I'm excited to share that passion with you guys.
Thank you.
One of the questions, it can be, this is the time, people, you know what they say, there's no dumb questions. It depends. It depends on when, like, you can't ask a question about like the real model 4 years from now. Like, that would be weird, but you can ask whatever you want right now. Zach.
Okay, someone says, well, I want to go to EXP versus ReaL. Why would I go to ReaL?
Good question. Yeah. The cool part about that answer, and Jason, I can tag team that for you, is it's important to know once you know the differences, then it's easy to talk to that, right? I'll give you the biggest issue, the biggest difference. And the cool part is there are some agents, and Jason will be the first to tell you, there are some agents we talk to, you're like, dude, you should totally go to EXP, right? Some people are just built for that, and that's totally fine. One of the things that makes ReaL very different is that most companies have silos, right? And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been a part of a big brand, and Scott's run the biggest brands in the country, they'll say, oh, everybody wants to be in Scott McDonald's office. Why? They don't want to go to the Beverly Hills Berkshire Hathaway office. They want to be in Newport Beach Scott McDonald's office. Why? Because they know being with Scott, being with Scott's team, being with his resources, his love, his care is so much better. So now people are siloed in that one office, even though they have the big brand. Right? Now, take that to the next level. Some of these kind of downline, the one word that I don't like to use is downline, because no one wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be on a downline. Like, nobody does that, right? But a network is important. And so the second is how firms are structured culturally is actually tough. So it's not good or bad. At EXP, there's silos. So if you're in Zen's network, you cannot talk to anybody in Jason's network. Zen's network's resources are for Zen's network only. But that's crazy, because Jason's network is amazing. So now you made some mistake and you joined Zen's network and you are screwed. The number one inbound, the calls that Jason will get or I will get will be like, my coach sponsor just is in the Caribbean now for 3 weeks and I never get to talk to him. Yeah. Dude, how many times do you get that?
Yeah, all the time. I would say that to his point, there's two things I've heard Tamir Polig, our CEO, say this before, is like the highest power of network is collaboration. Yeah. Right. One of the coolest things. So I was just in Long Beach at a coffee thing that one of the agents, Rick Lee, set up. He's one of our great agents up there. Only 2 years in the business. He's already closed like 70 deals or something like that. There were title reps, lenders, escrow people, and agents from other companies and other top agents in Long Beach. They're not connected through their downlines. Yet they're getting together and collaborating on things, because they just understand that the more we can help, the more people we can help be successful, the more successful everybody is. We also have this cool little graphic I post out every once in a while that says, the brokerage of the future is not a place, it's a network, right? So instead of focusing on this little thing, you've got all this stuff. We see if you've been on any social, you see Katie Day or Tim Macy or Jeremy Knight doing things. None of them are connected through their downlines, yet they're getting together, throwing happy hours, networking events, and bringing others into their world to help them grow. So that's what I get out of it. Now, the other answer to that question is if the compensation is important to you between us and EXP, just look at the compensation. We have a higher split, a lower cap, and less fees. So financially, it's better. Oh, plus, I'm sure you talked about the 8 ways, soon to be 9 ways to make money. We just launched our escrow operation in California. That's part of our title operation. You can buy into that as a joint venture and get dividends paid out every quarter for as little as $100. I heard they paid out their first dividends in the South, in Florida and Texas, where they launched. And for every unit, which was $100, they paid out like $1,100 in dividends or something like that. Don't look on the amounts, but another way to actually earn money by being part of the ReaL network.
Zen asked a good question. You may end up talking to different teams or organizations that are considering ReaL. But I would offer to you to not think about it as recruiting. If you should just think about it as connecting. Hey, Kira, I really have had a great experience. I really think you should talk to Scott and he can break this down for you. Bring a person who's very comfortable doing this. Once you see it done 2 or 3 times, you're like, oh, I get it. It just so happens that, for example, John, Jason, Zen, Scott, and I, we literally know every model because we are forced to know every model over the years, right? Not for you don't know every model because you don't have to. And now I can talk to the model because I know exactly what it is. And so if you bring me on a call, by the way, you bring us on a call, Jason or I, we're here to support you. And you will see how it's done a couple of times. And you're like, oh, I like how Sharran said that. I'll phrase it differently. And you'll learn more of those. We're going to do a lot more attraction-based training at ReaL. And the goal is not for you to ever feel like you need to do something. You don't have to. If you want to attract, great. If you don't want to attract, great. If you want to connect and have Scott or Sharran or Jason help, great. If you don't want to do that, great. Do whatever you want, but now you have more options as opposed to just thinking, I need to sling another house. Right? By the way, you have to sling some houses. Right? Right? Scott be like, bro, I'm glad you said that, right?
Let me jump in on that idea that you have to sling some houses. I love that.
This is a Jason, Sharran and Jason get together. We get.
Yeah. I think we should. So we sling houses. Title reps sling donuts. We sling houses. So, but you know what? That's culture. We're all real estate people, and we give EXP all the credit for what they've done. I mean, we're in awe of what they've done, and amazing people in that company, and we love them. But back to culture. 2 things. There's a lot of people in that company that will never sling a house. That's not their passion. It's not their goal. They're not real estate people. I was talking to one of the leaders of that big company a few months back, and they shared with me that they have 10,000 agents in California. And I believe they said 2,100 of them actually belong to a board and an MLS. Wow. What does that tell you about the culture of an organization? And you know, not judging. That's the model. It's not us. As you know, our DNA, we're so passionate about real estate. We want to show up and we want to take that responsibility seriously. The folks need value from us before we ever look to get paid. And so we're aligning, you know, they share, I mean, the DNA is identical. Here's the other thing, which is even bigger. I started following EXP in the early days, small world, a very good friend of mine's brother stepped in as their CEO. Nobody had even heard of them. I start following them. You know what I said back then? This model is going to work because it's unbelievable. And honestly, it did. As things went along, it grew. But that organization started in 2009, I believe, and traveled through the years, and it's growing. And it hit a magic point about halfway through 2020. That's 11 years into the journey, where that stock, which had been, you know, $1 or $2, maybe a little higher, back down. They hit that inflection point where they start accelerating their growth. And you know what happened to that stock? From mid-year, about, don't hold me on the dates, around mid-year 2020 until into the first quarter of 2021, that stock went from this much to, and again, don't quote me on the number, I believe it was $150 a share pre-split. Think about that. And you know what happened at that time? All the people that didn't like EXP go, I'm gonna be with EXP. And that even fueled their growth further. But there was something else that changed. After that big run, leveled off. That's called the growth cycle of a real estate company. And still studs. I mean, still doing amazing. Oh, and well, but here we are now. You started in 2014. So here we are 9 years into a journey where the stock is $1.40-ish. And now the growth's starting to go like this. I wonder what could happen. I wonder what could happen with the growth of ReaL. And we may all look back and say this timing was a gift from heaven that we affiliated at this time. So, you know, I don't know.
So two things real quick in mind: culture and productivity. As we've grown, so I get this thing called the broker traffic report Kind of shows all the new agents coming in, who's left, anniversary dates, birthday. It's a great little document that I get every single day. It's kind of a spreadsheet. But one of the things that I pay attention to is the productivity. Almost 70% of our agents in California are in production. 70%. That's amazing, right? So you got to sling a lot of houses. Nothing happens. All those great benefits don't happen unless we have a lot of productive agents. So the agent count is great. That's a part of the component, right? Or component that we want to talk about, but it's really the productivity level of the people. It's people like you coming on board. That's when I really started feeling like, okay, this is going somewhere, is the quality of the agents and teams that were joining us. And when we saw more big teams and even independent brokerages coming on board, I was going, okay, there is something really happening here that is very, very powerful. And then on the culture piece, at our first convention, by the way, our convention is in October in San Diego, so come down and hang out with us. That's going to be great, the 22nd through the 24th at the Hyatt downtown. But last year, I think it was last speaker was Vicki Bartholomew, who's on our board of directors with ReaL. She got up on stage and she started her talk to kind of wrap things up by saying, I've had this question over and over and over this week from a lot of you. And the question was, can we sustain this? And what they were talking about is the culture, the way we do things and how we interact with each other and other people. And she answered, I thought, very honestly, she said, that really depends on all of you, right? So we talk about silos and how we don't want that to happen. We talk about, this isn't MLM, this is a real opportunity to create other streams of income in your business. It's about collaborating on a high level and connecting with like-minded people who really see the benefits of what we're trying to do. So it is really up to all of us if we want to maintain that culture, because if it gets too far out of control, you can't reel it back in. We've seen that happen over and over again with other companies. Not saying it's good or bad, it just is what it is. And I would imagine that most people, if you asked them about it, would say, I wish it was like it used to be. And that's what we don't want to get to. We want to just continue to evolve and grow and have everyone benefit from what we're trying to do. I love how you put to that, what can we provide or build for you that you can't build on your own? I'm telling you guys, I think we only have Chime and Workplace are the only two like outside technologies, and they're both amazing, by the way. I would really encourage you guys to get into Workplace at least a couple of days a week. You don't have to post, you don't really have to interact, but it's our digital office. It's where we put a lot of information, especially around compliance. If you need something like a document or something like that, it's probably in there as well. So I would encourage you to visit Workplace, get that set up. There's a lot going on in there. And then Chime, if you need a great CRM, we've got that for you as well. But the app, I can't wait. I just want to go, yo, Leo, I need to know what my last 3 closings GCI was, or I need an open house flyer for 123 Main Street. And it's done for you through the AI that we're building out, which is going to be incredible. So
I'll give you a
question or so. I know you've been
No,
so
it's cool.
generous with your
I'll
time.
give you a quote that this is great, which is bigger is not better, better is better. Right?
Yeah.
So if you feel like, if Zen feels like, hey, I'm talking to Jenny and she'd be a great producer, but she's not real DNA, like, please do not invite her. I'm dead serious. Like, don't. Because as Jason said, you cannot reel it back in.
Yeah.
Right? This is help us build a great company today so this company can take care of your family tomorrow. Forever, you're going to have Natasha etched in your memory. Like, we're going to take care of. Yeah. We love you. If something happens, we got you. Right? But please know this. Like, bigger is not better, better is better. Right? So, as Jason said, we are trusting, we are a family, we're trusting each of you to saying, hey, is this a right decision for ReaL? Because when that person comes on or we do that deal, it benefits you, it benefits your ownership, it benefits our growth, it benefits your stock. So we are partners. And whether you like it or not, I work for you. So, so that's any other quick questions. You will see and need more questions as you mechanically do stuff. And we're here to support you with that. I will tell you, as soon as you get through one transaction, like beginning to end, it'll just become really smooth. Till you do that, you're like, oh, like, where do I go? What do I do? But as soon as you do one transaction beginning to end, you're like, oh, wow, that was way easy. What other comes to mind? Two more questions, then we'll hand it back over to Scott John.
Why Chime say over Rosora?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good question. Repeat the questions. I don't think they heard it in the back.
Why Chime over say Rosora?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Resort, but I know a lot of our groups use Follow Up Boss, or they use, some other platform. I think they're all good, right? I know, I remember Gary Keller used to say all the time, the best CRM to use is the one you will use, right? What I like about Chime, and I've had it, kind of a broken version of it for a while, is number one, if you went straight to them, it'd be like $500 or $600 a month for the platform you get through us, which is $40 a month. So it's a very cost-effective platform. The CRM functionality is pretty good. I try not to send a lot of emails out unless it's something really important. But I've got all of you guys, or if you're not, you will be soon in my Chime database. I might send you 2 emails a month. Usually it's through Workplace, but the CRM part is really easy to use and easy to upload, data and information into it. But what's really critical, I think, about it is the marketing elements that it provides. You get a great website that's built on WordPress, that's highly customizable, which I really like. And then they've got some really cool features. If you guys want to write my website address down, you can check it out. It's realbrokerca.com, realbrokerca.com. And again, it's kind of a test site I built just to see or to show what it can do. But there's 2 things I like. The landing pages are really cool, where you can create custom pages based on property data. You could draw a search on the map, however you want to do it, different filters, and it will create a custom page within your website. So if you blast that out as an example, it will bring people into your website environment. So it meets all the IDX rules. And then also the neighborhood reports are amazing. And there are so many neighborhoods in San Diego that I didn't even know existed. Like I knew Point Loma, but I forgot about Loma Portal, or there's all these little sub neighborhoods, and you can create these really micro level data neighborhood reports that are beautiful. So it's a pretty powerful platform. They do have some upgrades you can buy for marketing and some AI stuff if you want. They have a little AI interface as well that will nurture leads and things like that a lot of our people use as well. So check it out.
There's one, to piggyback on what Jason just said, there's very few technology platforms that are a lot in one. All in one's a hard thing to say, but when you say all in one, you have a CRM component, you have a marketing component, which is automations, blasts, text, all of that, and the landing page IDX component. Resort has some version of that. There's like you take all the others, CRM Interactive, Follow Up Boss, HubSpot, none of them have the 3 biggies, which is the CRM component, the automation component, the IDX component, all in one place at 96% off. That was a big reason. That's a big reason for the push.
And they're great. It's great for teams too. If you've got a
I was
team,
just gonna
it's
say
really
that
good for
you can
teams.
actually talk to your teams through it, so you don't have to pick them up, call,
Yeah.
text, or anything, you can do that. Another thing they do is real time, so when your clients are on looking at properties, you actually get notified, and you'll know that they're on there as opposed to when they're on the MLS. You still have to go in and check to see what that's like, and then it integrates with everything, so you got bomb videos, all kinds of
A lot of
stuff.
integration. It integrates through calendar, it integrates through email, so you can be in one platform and get access to most everything you need. That's a really great point about the when your clients are in there. I always think it's funny, like you were looking at condos downtown and now you're looking at horse property in Oklahoma. Like what the hell's going on here?
Sounds a little
Right,
scary.
you can see what's going on. There's a little customization you have to do on the front end, like with the integrations or the lead routing with the teams. I like that.
Yeah.
Like you could say, hey, the next lead goes to Mary, the next one goes to Bob, the next one goes to Sally, right? But you as the team leader can see all of that and who's getting what. So you've got accountability. If you need to follow up, how's it going with the Smith family? Have you found the Joneses something yet? They've been in there for 6 months. You can create customized follow-up things, or you can use the pre-built ones that are all templated out for you. So it's a pretty powerful platform. For $40, I mean.
Yeah.
All right, no pressure, but we had somebody to bring us home. One last question, and then we'll hand it back over. What comes to mind? This is where it gets like really complex or really simple.
What's your goal for this year?
Bigger is not better, better is better, right? I will tell you that agent count goals are not, it'll work here and there, but I'll tell you a broader thing for us is to really see folks benefit from more than just commission. So the one thing that we are tracking is, if we have Natasha,
Still alive.
she's alive. But is Natasha making commission income? Is she making referral income? Is there team income? Is there a stock component? Is there a revenue share component? Is she part of a title JV or an escrow JV? Is the big thing we want is to see all our agents taking advantage of the multiple kind of components of the new model. That is a lot more powerful, because I would much rather, you can pause growth today and have agents benefit more, because then it feels really, really good that we're doing something great.
And the agent count just becomes the fruit that shows up on a healthy tree.
That's it.
And that is just so organic and natural and.
That's it. Exactly right. Exactly right. Jason and I will stick around for a little bit, but most importantly, I want to leave you with this. Help us build a great company today so that our company can take care of Natasha and your family.
That is.
Right. Appreciate y'all.
You still have John to say a final word? Mr. McMonigal, we wish you had been here.
Well, let's just give Sharran and Jason a great round of applause. I told you you're gonna love these guys. They're unbelievable. And you know, when Scott and I made this decision, you know what I said to Scott? I said, Scott, who you work with matters. And you know, we're just so blessed and so grateful to have this amazing platform fueling Agent Inc. and to have the benefit of these additional leaders in the mix. And so guys, we love you. We're thankful for you. And as part of Agent Inc., I'm just very, very grateful to be where we are. And I know we have a great future together. So thank you everyone for attending. And I hope you have a very productive rest of the week.